Greetings, everybody. This is Patricia Cori for your moment of Zen coming to you from the Azores Island. And this time I'm going to be doing it by pre-record because I don't want to make a blooper. I mean, there's just too much pressure with this live thing. So since the subject is probably going to ruffle a few feathers, I want to be sure that I have the chance to edit anything that might possibly offend, because that is never my intention. So the subject for my moment of Zen today is rest in peace, New Age movement. And that already has, the reason why I've pre-taped this is because that already got a few little raised eyebrows, like, how dare you talk about that? What do you mean rest in peace? And I mean exactly that, rest in peace. However, since you know that I'm all about immortality and transition, then what I'd like to clearly indicate before I depart on this conversation is that I'd like to talk about what follows. Where are we headed from what used to be the New Age movement, but it's not new anymore. And how we, all of us, look, we're a very, very important segment of civilization. And don't think that the powers that be are just going to let us get away with it from the point of view of sharing profound, critical information without trying to infiltrate it. I've talked about this before, and it's also in the Syrian material, but today I thought, let's start with a quote from one of our great comedians and politicians, none other than George Carlin. When I say politicians, I mean someone who utilized humor to make political commentary. And if you haven't noticed, the comedians are more and more silent when it comes to making any kind of a statement because of the backlash, because of political correctness, because of the mood, the global mood about that. And they were even speaking out about that and saying, it's getting to the point where you can't even tell a joke anymore because everybody's getting offended. And particularly, I'm seeing a lot of careful stepping when it comes to political statement and satire. But of course, George Carlin let it all hang out. So I want to start with this quote from George Carlin. He said, he was talking about the owners, and he said, forget the government, forget the politicians, they're not the ones, they're puppets, and it's the real owners that you need to be concerned about. And here's his quote: they spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Well, I find that very interesting and so spot on. And I just wonder, in our years of developing, decades of this time of New Age awakening, of course, much of the New Age awakening is bringing up the ancient ways, the knowledge of shamans, the knowledge of lore, the Druid, Celtic, Native American wisdom. It's not new. A lot of what we have made ours and brought to the foreground is certainly not new. It's just being redefined, re-established, renewed with the wisdom we have today. Why do I feel it's important to talk about this? Because I think that we've been infiltrated. And I think that there's a segment of what is the New Age wisdom that is being molded into a plasma of superficiality and amalgamized into a group mind think that sort of interferes with that critical thinking. So when I say that, I'd like you to think or ask yourself the question: is all of the wisdom and all of the knowledge and methodologies and healing modalities and tools and divination, new discoveries about multidimensionality, probing ways to look at extraterrestrial life, conspiracies, which, you know, I've been at the beginning here of my work as a, say, scribe, reporter, however you want to define me. Conspiracies of every aspect of government, secret government, and known. You surely understand that there would be inside this vortex of or force that wants to own, as George Carlin says, own us, that would want to be sure to water down and disengage critical thinking in the community we call the New Age movement. So I love this idea of critical thinking, and I would like to suggest that perhaps now it's a new age. It needs to be a new age of the New Age, and that are we ready to spin the wheel a little faster and take all that wisdom, all those skills, all those contributions, which I am not for a moment suggesting don't matter, but can we take them forward into what I would love to see become the age of discernment? Because guys, I'm telling you, we are going to have to be more discerning and more grounded than we ever have been before. The news is flying. The alternative information is off the charts. I mean, I get crazy when I read some of this stuff. I get crazy about 8 million different kinds of healing techniques and divinations and even channeling. And of course, you probably would be thinking, well, how dare she say that, because she purports to be a channel. But even that, let's scrutinize it. Does it speak an inevitably empowering message? Is it grounded in anything that resembles reality or science? Or at this moment, what's really important is physics and the new quantum physics and beyond the quantum physics. Is it grounded enough to be able to apply it in some way as we merge science and spirit in this age, in this new age? Is it relevant? Does it matter? And I'm inviting you to the age of discernment. And I don't want to say I'm warning, but I really want to drive home the fact that there are factors, there are elements that are determined to water down and amalgamize and make us look ridiculous so that we have no credibility, so that we are not perceived as people of capable of critical thinking, but rather as a bunch of woo-woo mamas. I really resent the term woo-woo. You know, you can laugh at these things, but there's a point where you stand up and say to yourself, how demeaning is the term woo-woo or woo-woo mama, or the get your tin hat on, or how airy-fairy is that? It's dismissive. And our challenge now is to find that place where we are bringing forward incredible, challenging things. I mean, in my youth, it was the ultimate challenge to try to convince someone that there was an energy in a crystal. And of course, now it's more challenging to talk about slipping through wormholes and things like that. So, you know, we're making progress here. But I just invite you to look at everything that's coming to you with more discernment, with more scrutiny. And before you really embrace some of the stuff that's coming out, just consider, this was the point of my message today, consider that some of it is deliberate misinformation. And then ask yourself, run it through you and ask yourself if it really resonates or not. And do the same with what you put out there. It's time for the age of discernment. So that was my spiel, and I hope you take it in the light of my intention, which is to help us ground, help us find our root somewhere between the third dimensional framework that we understand Earth to be and our physical bodies, and somewhere else which could be any manner of dimensions where we like to flutter to, or astral project to, or experience as time warps, time slips, things that I so love to talk about as I'm experiencing them now too. All right, so that was my message. I hope you love the intention and know that I'm calling for the age of discernment. This is Patricia Cori calling for the age of discernment, where we do not allow any force or any PR company for the top kahunas that believe they have power over us to distort and manipulate all of the incredible, the wealth that is our experience as New Agers coming to a new age. Okay? That is my message for today. And I'd like to leave you with this little thought, and that is, if you perceive me as being airy-fairy in this short message, I'd like you to contemplate that as we go into the age of discernment, you can at least upgrade me to a wary fairy. So I'm a wary fairy, grounded and strong and critical thinking and scrutinizing. And as I move into the age of my own discernment, I invite all of you to join me, just to be a little bit more selective on what you embrace and make your own. And by the way, people are asking me, what is the event? What do I think about the event? And my answer is, what event? I mean, what? The birds are singing a different song since equinox. You can maybe hear them in the background. It's like everything is going just as it is meant to be. Pay attention to these things. Make your life beautiful. Thank you for listening. And all I ask is, if you like what I'm bringing forward in a moment of Zen, I'd really appreciate it if you click on the subscriber button, because I'm trying to do my best to work with social media in order to reach more of you and to fill the ethers with more hope and joy and contemplation. This is Patricia Cori signing out. Thank you for tuning in, and always remember that my love surrounds you. Bye. Take care.